I had been leaning into trying to figure out who I was and what did I really want, because I've been trying to fit the mold, as we all do, because you want to make sure you're getting clients and stuff. And I went, okay, this is who I am. I am glitter and rainbows and explosion. And I do love this stuff. I get glee when I talk about forms. Own it. So I changed my logo, changed my mindset, and started going with I'm happy to help. That is my go-to response, because I'm happy to help. I love helping people. So I've been working at home for over 20 years. These things don't seem to impact our business, but yet if you can have the foresight and be able to see the forest for the trees for these agents who are so focused on just getting this deal done, you will become an asset for life. We're in the dream business, and I love being part of that. And I am going to do everything to fiercely protect it like you wouldn't believe.
Transaction Care, the podcast. Welcome home to the #1 real estate show on the market. I am your host and resident care coordinator, Lillian Hernandez, but you can call me Lilly. My goal with each episode of Transaction Care is to demystify the business of real estate from my point of view and interviews from other voices within the real estate industry around the world. I'm giving you the keys. There are no gatekeepers here. Head to transactioncarepodcast.com to join my TC community and to be sure you are subscribed to Transaction Care, the podcast, so you know exactly when new episodes are released weekly. Welcome back to the Transaction Care podcast. I am your host and resident care coordinator, Lillian Hernandez, aka Lily like the flower, because we are learning and growing together. Today's episode is going to be a fun one. We have an industry vet, a leader, a voice of reason for many. She has 20 years of TC experience. She's a realtor, car forms trainer, certified transaction coordinator, car short sale trust certified, notary, real estate forms nerd. She's closed over 7,000 transactions. Did you hear me? 7,000 transactions. That's awesome. She is also the owner of One Stop. And we have Samantha Hayes, aka Sam. Welcome to the show. How are you
doing? I'm good. I'm excited to talk with you. I'm so impressed with everything you've been doing. It's awesome to see all this.
Oh, I appreciate that. I did not pay her to say that, guys. So we'll just jump straight into it. So
shoot.
I know a lot of people in the industry are familiar with who you are. I know, as you know, I've been in the game for just as long, but I know it's important to have those familiar faces and voices within the industry, especially on social media, to rely on. But I know you didn't just start there. So let's backtrack a little bit. What was the journey to real estate? How did you get into this fun industry?
So this is going to definitely be dating myself. My family is in real estate. I'm a third generation realtor. My grandfather was a broker. And when my parents got divorced, he had my mom go and get her license. She decided that property management was more her vibe than doing actual real estate stuff. So I would be put in the car. She'd pick us up after school when I was about 8 years old. And she would give me a Thomas Brothers, which was a book before we had GPS. And I would be told to navigate how to go check all of her properties. Oh, wow. And it was one of those things where I tried being an executive admin. I tried doing a lot of different things. I worked in the hotel industry. My degree's in hospitality management. But yeah, I run with scissors. I need my own mouth. Definitely. As much as I wanted to be a corporate person, it's just, I was too challenging for a lot of people. So my family is very tight. We're very Midwestern, even though we're Californian. I come from a lot of people from Ohio. So I grew up with my cousins very, very closely, very, very tight knit. And I was having some struggles administratively, trying to figure out what I was going to do in my early 20s. And my cousin Tommy was in the Navy. He had gone to the Naval Academy and actually was the first officer killed in Iraq. And so when he passed, we were only 8 months apart. And so when he passed, my mom and I both, she's like, okay, enough. What do you want to do with your life? Because it really hit us, because he and I were the older two, and the fact that one of us was now gone. And so he died doing what he loved, and I was going to figure out what the hell I loved come hell or high water. And so I took to this kind of like a duck to water. My mom, by then, God, lots of tragedy stuff. My stepfather had also passed only about 4 years before that. So she had transitioned from property management into transaction coordination. She said, okay, you're coming to work with me. She was in the process of transitioning out of TCing into assisting a team that went on to create a brokerage here in San Diego, Ascent Real Estate. And mom was the general manager for years and then ended up opening an escrow company. So it was, we had some major losses and then went, okay, enough. We ended up on this path. So that's how I got sucked into it. And I just loved it. I loved it from the second. I took all my weird, nerdy admin background. I took all my like crazy pop by admin stuff or hospitality stuff and ran with it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that and being vulnerable with the audience in terms of, your family dynamics. I can definitely relate to having a big family and being close to people and loss. That's definitely one of the sparks in my life in terms of why I do anything. It's like, well, I'm fortunate to still be here. What am I going to do with this time? Let's have
100%
some fun.
that.
Let's have some fun, but let's also get to business, right? So this is in you. I feel like no matter what you may have tried, you probably could have become a surf instructor and somehow been like, you know what? Actually, it's real estate. It keeps haunting me.
I can't let it go. I finally, part of COVID was like sitting down and I had decided 2020 was going to be my year, like we all did.
Yeah.
And so,
Here I am with the podcast.
They're like, that's adorable. Let's just take y'all down. So I kind of I had been leaning into trying to figure out who I was and what did I really want? Because I've been trying to fit the mold, as we all do, because you want to make sure you're getting clients and stuff. And I went, okay, this is who I am. I am glitter and rainbows and explosion. And I do love this stuff. I get glee when I talk about forms. Own it. So I changed my logo, changed my mindset, and started going with I'm happy to help. That is my go-to response because I'm happy to help. I love helping people.
That's such a great point, because I think some of us tend to stray away from who we are at our core because of what society tells us or what the quote unquote norms are or constructs of, how we're supposed to be. And I think that's a journey I've definitely also been on lately, is just kind of returning back to who I've always been. But now it's like more enhanced, more informed and, evolved. But I love that. You're like, get to it. And I feel like it's definitely worked to your advantage as well in terms of your presence in the industry and the business. But let's stay back a little bit more in terms of it's a family business, but also it doesn't have to be your business.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're in it, right? You said you're doing the navigation for your mom manually with a book. if you're watching this online, I'm doing hand motions as if I'm holding a book. But do you remember your first transaction? And was it as a TC or were you assisting? What was that like?
So we were, this is hysterical. Okay. So it was the broker. It doesn't exist anymore, but I was in Prudential and Hillcrest off of Washington Street. And they had this little bungalow. They had the main office. And then you walk down halfway down the block to this bungalow that there were multiple agents in. Mom was in there and they put me at a desk and said, okay, here's what you're doing. And she kind of shadowed me the first time. And it made sense because I've always had an admin brain. I've been an executive admin, did all of that. So that totally made sense. And with event planning, I'm very event date driven. So the idea of a closing being what's my driving force made sense easily. Right. And checking the boxes. And because the other side of my world is my dad is the dad, anyways, not the one who passed away, but the other dad is in insurance. So I had risk management in my whole life. And then I have real estate. So putting these two together was kind of no brainer. It made a lot of sense. Oh no, they thought I was amazing because I'm like, okay, do, because I come from a tech background too, but we're at admin. So Excel spreadsheet, every call I was logging and everything was, this is 2003. Thank you very much. And then I would make paper copies. Oh God, I cannot believe how much time I used to spend at a copier. I'd make a paper copy of the MLS and a list of all their contacts and the contract. And I'd staple that and give it to the agents and I'd fax it, those fax machines we used to use.
Yeah.
I'd fax that to escrow and to the lender. And then that way the agents had a paper copy to keep in the car with them. Because I figured one of the gifts of having your mom being the person who trained you to do this, I could ask her any question and anything she'd seen go wrong or somebody wasn't doing, she could tell me to do. So, and she was like, look, you don't want them to call you. Close the loop, give them all the information possible, keep them calm so they can focus on what they're doing. Yeah. And that's been the biggest is circle back because you don't think you need to follow up and say something is done because you're like, it's done. Why don't you trust me? Well, we all have that brain noise. Why don't we get that brain noise out of their head, let them know it's handled, and then everybody can calm down, and then they can focus on doing what they do best, which is going to get new deals, and that's business for me. So whatever I can do to facilitate them being happy to do more work kind of made sense.
Yeah, and that's pretty much the root of being a transaction coordinator.
Yeah.
If that's if that's the model you stuck to, I think you could do well in this industry or in this field in terms of a career, which I'm sure there are a lot of aspiring TCs listening to this. That one, you guys are lucky you don't have to deal with fax machines anymore.
Oh my God.
Like I can't tell you the last time I've dealt with one, but I started around the same time, like 04, 05, and we had storage facilities,
Oh,
like boxes. I was hired as an office admin to come in and organize the files, not to TC or anything, just to organize the chaos of paperwork that was just becoming mountainous within the offices. So I could definitely relate to that time. And so for any new aspiring TCs, the way technology is set up, you're welcome. You're welcome.
my first year going paperless, I didn't do any extra hours. I did 100 more files. And that was tech that's nowhere near DocuSign. I mean, we were still having to chase paper signatures if we had to, or like figuring it out. But then we'd scan them in, and then they'd shred the hard copies once everything closed. But we were double dip. That was still double dipping compared to what we do now. We can do files so much faster now, so much cleaner. Like you can actually read the signatures, the writing.
Right. And everything was wet.
Yeah.
It was by hand, and there was nothing. Zip forms, card forms barely existed back then. So when you began, were you working simply just with the family business, or did you have kind of the foresight to be like, this is going to be my business one day? Like, what was that?
I was dumb enough to do both. So it was more mom ended up handing the agents over to me. So it was always my own business out the gate. But then when I was working at Prudential, they lost their TC, their in-house TC. So I ran their in-house files, and then I TC'd independently at the same time. So I was working 12 to 16 hours easily. So I was on site, and then I would work on my files that were coming to me directly because I would be paid at a different rate. They were still a Prudential, but some were going through the company because there were certain people I couldn't fire. Even though there was one, I told him, I'm like, look, I will fire you at this point if you don't. This is making me remember that was entertaining, just because they didn't understand some of the paperwork, and we had a great talk, and it ended up being a great client for years afterwards. But no, I started off independently, and then I just did the other because I wanted to jump in, because I knew being in-house, one would have more exposure, it was more money, it was more training. I knew that I needed to get more experience and get more files under my belt. And it just was the way my life was going at the time. It made sense to be able to throw myself completely in. I was single, just me. I think I spent 4 months in the actual physical office. And then it was the beginning of everything starting to come down, even though the market did what it did between 2003 and 2007 before the crash. Right. So yeah, it was, but they let me move home early. I moved my business home, I think probably beginning of 2004. So I've been working at home for over 20 years. I am no longer fit to be in a corporate office or anywhere type. If I can't be at home, let's forget it. I don't know what to do. But I always knew that I had to have my own business because of the interactions and the issues I'd had with corporate previously. And I'm very grateful for the experiences and the education I got through Prudential, but it definitely was a blessing when I could go completely independent.
Wow. 20 years working from home, a concept that people could not grasp even 3 years ago.
Yep.
Right. And that's inspiring, because I'm like, okay, this is possible, guys. We could do it. There's longevity in this. And especially now, of course, with technology, but in that transition of you working in an office, which is a key point, because a lot of people nowadays don't want to put in that extra mile of admitting, no, I need more reps, I need more files, I need more practice. I know what I'm doing, but doing it all at once is chaotic still. And how do I bring some ease into this? And you were okay with working for an office. working with people, whether it was fun or not. Like you said, there were still people you wanted to fire, but you couldn't. But that helped to develop your skills and to also bring more self-awareness to you, who you are as a person. You realized, oh, okay, I did my time. Thank you for your service. Thank you. I'm gonna go home now and do this from the comfort of my space. And I think that's really cool. But in that process of running a business and all the skills you've, built up from past careers, family, and now your in-house TC business, at what point did you catch your stride as not just a TC or someone that worked in real estate, but also combining now, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a business owner?
I'm gonna let you know when it happens. Like, I mean,
honestly,
it's on. I'm constantly questioning. I mean, I will say part of it, one of the benefits I had was I was dragged kicking and screaming to a Buffini mastermind. And I didn't understand. I'm like, it's for the realtors. Why am I going? I don't care. It doesn't affect my job. And I am very blessed to have the mother that I have who has been my business mentor. When we had worked together previously for a very large special event where she was the executive director and I was her admin. So we've worked together multiple times, and it's just the way our partnership and relationship's been my whole life. And so she's mentored me. Like, she's the one who picked my college. She's like, you keep throwing these house parties. You're getting a degree in hospitality management. This is ridiculous. Yeah. You're gonna keep doing these behaviors. Let's get you making money for it.
Smart.
I'm really lucky. So with that and everything else, with the entrepreneurial, I get dragged to the Buffini thing. And it's been such a big thing that I have tried to advocate to other TCs is, well, it's for realtors. I don't need to go. Yeah, you do. Because if you know what they're supposed to be doing, you can answer their questions. If you know what they need, you can anticipate how to be ready in your services. If you understand that there's a change coming up and you can see the long game going, hey, that affects this file, this file, this file, this file. Oh, moving forward, like the home hardening that we've had. Learning as much as possible about that and trying to be ahead of it and going, okay, well, we'll pay attention as a house on a canyon. Or unfortunately, what's going on right now in rolling estates where the houses are sliding into the, coming down. Right. And this was some of the stuff of watching the weather that I've been doing for many years, because this was predicted that we would have more landslides due to the volume of water and the drought. And then what happens with erosion, yada, yada, yada. These things don't seem to impact our business. But yet, if you can have the foresight and be able to see the forest for the trees for these agents who are so focused on just getting this deal done, you will become an asset for life. And that's been my goal. I'm actually working on, as you know, we're talking about earlier, and I definitely am the queen of cul-de-sacs, so redirect me if you need to. But I call my cul-de-sacs in my conversation. Oh, cul-de-sac, hold on, I had a thought, and then we can get back on the road.
You're good.
But one of the things I'm doing right now, with it being slower, because we know, and trying to stay aware of everything, is reaching out to all my clients going, look, we've been working together X number of years. We've made this much money together. We've done this many files, and I'm 100% here. I'm not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. And yes, if I may, we'll figure stuff out, and everybody may have to do what you need to do to get your bills paid right now, but I'm still going to be there for my agents. And yes, it's going to be a lot of us are going to be doing a lot of work that feels for free. You were planting seeds. I did it through COVID, where I was learning all the PEDs. I was updating as soon as I watched anything. I was breaking it down so it made sense for my agents, saying, look, here's how I'll help you. I'm here. Call me. It definitely built business for me. It was worth it. Plus, I truly believe in what we do matters. And what we do is making other people's dreams come true, be it the agent getting to have the dream career, being in this family, getting to finally buy a house, being these sellers who get to move on because they did the right things and now we're in the dream business, and I love being part of that. And I am going to do everything to fiercely protect it like you wouldn't believe. So that's kind of my driving force.
Yeah, no, that's beautiful. And you dropped so many gems just now, so many keys that my mind is racing. I'm like, let's end it. I'm going to go revamp my business right now. Just kidding. But it's so important, especially the weather aspect. It's not that I don't keep up with the weather, but it didn't click until literally just now how you can anticipate how your business is going to go in the next either weeks or months, simply by watching just patterns, whether it's the weather, the stock market, or government drama, the Real Housewives of the USA.
Seriously.
I mean, we're not going to get into all that, but basically, you're taking initiative. You're anticipating. You're not just sitting around waiting for the files to come to you, because there's going to be peaks and valleys, lulls and highs. And as you said, this is where it's July 2023 at the time of this recording, and it's not as quote unquote busy as it used to be. There are a lot of shifts occurring. Technology is changing rapidly, which we'll get into later in this conversation. But there are ways to maintain your business. And like you said, catching your stride is something that always requires maintenance. The first day compared to where we are today, what's that, like 15 years later, almost, 2 decades in, plus there isn't no one roadmap that we can stick to. We can just have the basics, right? And then how can we elevate from there? And, I love that for you as a business person, and also just as tips and guidance for those listening that are interested in not just running a transaction coordinator business, but a business in general, right? You got to stay on your toes somehow. You always have to be learning. And you mentioned 2 things I want to touch on: having a mentor, whether it's your mom or a colleague or a coworker or whoever, and then conferences. So let's go back to the mentor aspect of things. So what were the benefits of having one? And are you also working with a coach and or a therapist as well to continuously, again, run this ship and keep things in motion? And you as well, not just the business, but you as well.
Having my mom has been amazing. We have a very not normal mother-daughter. I mean, it's wonderful. It's awesome. But it's definitely been more as partners. There's been a lot of family dynamics. I helped take care of my part of why I moved my business home was I took care of my grandmother for 13 years. And by me being home and we were lucky enough. Well, my mom was savvy enough. Let's just be real here. My mom was savvy enough. They bought the house. Yeah. Like, she bought the house next door in 1990s, knowing that it was a single level. Wow. That we were going to need somebody in the family was going to need to be able to do this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So, Time out. Let that breathe. Let's let that breathe. Talk about foresight and just, wow. Okay. So continue. Thank you. I needed to process that because, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No,
people with big families. I'm Samoan and Mexican. So both sides are massive. It's like the thought of we're going to get older. And we always take care of each other. Flat, go flat.
Oh, at one point we had, because my sister's ex-husband is with NASA, so he would go to Antarctica from Thanksgiving to Valentine's, because that's the summer season and when they can get the planes in, because then the fuel doesn't freeze. So when my nephew was very small, Kate would move home for 4 months. So we had Wyatt, who was, between 2 and 4, my sister, myself, my mom, and then my grandmother. So we had 4 generations living together so family is anybody, and I do tend to consider everybody instantly. If you're my world, you become my family or my friend. You have no choice. Yes. Whether or not you want that, sometimes it's just how it works. So, but with that and her moving home and the foresight of my mom, and it's one of those things of looking during the long term of when you're doing this with a mentor and when you're doing things with her, she looks at the long game, and I can get a little lost in the details sometimes, because as we all do, and I am definitely the epitome of a realtor where, oh my God, everything's so busy. Oh my God, I have no business. Oh my God. So I am definitely the emotional, and it's gotten better. It does get better. This one's been a little rough, this is not, and I know everybody's unheard of. It really is. She's never, anybody I've talked to is, and I have other friends who've been in the industry for years. We have never experienced a universal PTSD emotional response.
Right.
And we're all changed. I mean, I look at photos of 2019 to 2022, 23, and I have younger friends who are in their 20s and 30s, and even you can see the change in all of us. And I think that's one of the things is now realizing is getting out of the doom and gloom and going, you know what, I have things I can control. And that is one of the gifts of the pandemic, because I refuse to call it its real world. But one of the gifts was, I think we all learned the inner strengths that we had because we had to. And it's now your choice to keep using them and grow those inner strengths that you maybe would not have had the same time to cultivate. And that's what I'm trying to work on.
Exactly. And sometimes that takes reaching out for help with, mentor or a coach or therapy or psychology, whatever help you can get. I think it's important to advocate for yourself and not hold on to everything and feel like you have to do it alone. That's also one of the reasons I wanted to start this podcast, because I felt like, well, I'm not networking. I'm not meeting people. I don't know who these people are. Like, we just come in and out of these Facebook groups asking for help, taking. But it's like, who are these people behind the screens, and how can we not just get to know you, but one of my taglines is to demystify the business of real estate. And I'm not talking about like, okay, well, today's interest rates are, it's like, yes, you have to know that, but it's like, how are you managing all of this? How are you staying quote unquote sane? You know what I mean? And it's not easy being an entrepreneur. Even if you're just a transaction coordinator, you're not running a business, you're in-house or you're an assistant.
It's such an emotional, it's a very emotional, especially the residential side. It's part of why I don't like to do commercial, because it's not as emotional, and some of the behavior is almost worse sometimes for me.
Yeah.
I mean, at least my interaction. I know other people love it. My cousin is a commercial realtor. He loves it. No thanks. I like part of the like, oh, you're getting your house, or oh, we bought grandma's house, or like, I like that part of it too much. But it is very, so circling back to your conference question and the Buffini thing. So one of the things that I loved about and what sucked me into the Buffini stuff is it's the 5 circles where you've got to have balance. You've got to have your health. You've got to have your mental, your spiritual, your family, everything else. I have not done as many conferences the past few years like everybody else. Even I've done online stuff. I don't currently have a therapist. I don't currently have a specific coach because I live with my mom. So I kind of can go upstairs for that. But I'm a huge believer, and I learned a lot about it, was YouTube University. There is so much free stuff. So much free stuff on YouTube. Yeah, I know I have a channel. You've got your channel. Like, there is so much stuff out there, and so many people that want to share.
Yes.
They really want to share I love talking about it, because I know I just love it. It doesn't matter. Even if, I mean, the helping somebody else is great. I love talking about this stuff. And so I think that's something that we forget, that everybody's like, I need to have the newest, shiniest, whatever. And sometimes yes, it's always good. You got to stay aware, got to stay up for tech, got to stay up for everything that's coming up. But sometimes going back to basics when things are a little tight or a little hard, reset your foundation and keep going. So that's what I've done, is I'm trying to, as it's slowing down, or I'm hoping we've done this and now it's time to go back up. But I'm like listening to something real estate related or business related or something motivational every day. That's definitely something I'm circling back to. I need to get back to my 5 gratitudes. I used to post my 5 gratitudes every day, and I haven't done that for a while. And I need to circle back and get my head out of my butt. And then I'm in the SCA. So when everybody sees me in my crazy dress costumes, as I call them, and my crazy dress friends, I'm part of a really amazing group of humans that do reenactment of medieval times and things. And it's not LARP, because everybody else, it's not LARP. I don't have a persona. I do run a bar. That's fun. I get to go run a bar. But it's a great group of people that are actually amazingly talented and kind, and refill your cup, and definitely have a shared just wanting to experience life. So pretty cool. That's how I balance. It's not normal. I don't recommend it for everybody, but it works for me.
Right. And that's the self-awareness aspect of things. It's like, you're not forcing yourself to fit into anyone else's boxes, or even any box, right? Or filling, the void of someone because you felt like you had to do it. It's like, you're doing you. And again, sticking to the foundation, the fundamentals, and taking it from there. And going back to the conferences, definitely important. I need to get out to I have some ideas for things that are coming up on what I want to do, but also it's important for those listening, find the conferences, network, go out there, push your limits in terms of comfortability of socializing and talking to people. If anything, use it as practice. But at the same time, what you get from those conferences or events, workshops, whatnot, apply what you learned immediately. Because that's what's going to separate everyone from those that keep going and have longevity and are able to work from home and run their business for 2 decades plus, versus those that just sign up to be in this industry expecting it to be like a job where people give you everything. You may have that your first year and think that's normal. But once all that disappears and everyone realizes like it, every person for themselves, you're going to realize how vulnerable you are and ill prepared for the reality of business and real estate. And so if you are someone out there listening that wants to go to conferences or whatnot, I think we both can agree they're helpful. But I think sometimes we can get into like information paralysis in a sense, thinking if I go to, like you said, I need the shiny new thing. I need the latest and greatest technology. Okay, well, all right. I don't have all that stuff, but I'm still here chugging along, and it doesn't say it doesn't help, but at the same time, it's like, what are you doing with it?
This 100%. It's and I'm going to get on my glitter soapbox about this, and I
Go for it.
I'm going to offend somebody. So here you go. I have a challenge every time I see, and same with realtors. I closed X many deals this year. We did this much in sales. Mm-hmm. Okay. You don't hear plumbers saying I flushed 20,000 toilets. Like you don't.
Yeah.
What? That's awesome. And congratulations and good on you. And if that's one of your marketing pieces, sweet. You should totally like, yeah, I dropped the 7,000 that I've assisted with. I haven't closed 7,000 because they don't all close, damn it. But I have.
Well, that's why I said it last.
Yeah.
I'm on the same boat. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
no.
I didn't want to lead with that because I know the value is deeper than just the number. So I didn't. But
no, not at all. No,
your point. Well, I understand.
It's more sometimes because somebody's not listening to you, and it's kind of why I got the alphabet soup behind my name. Those things are great, and I'm glad I took those classes, but that's not what I'm bringing to the table, but it opens the door. And sometimes you need that stuff, and you got to have some things in your back pocket, especially when you're dealing with, well, I've been a broker for 30 years. You haven't taken a class in 20, honey. We don't use the blue forms anymore. Like, get them out of your trunk. They're not current. Hold on.
Oh my God.
But circling back to it, my point is, what are you providing? Like, I went down the rabbit hole of, I'm going to be the biggest fish in the pond. I'm going to be the biggest nerd because these forms have always made sense to me. And part of how the Facebook group that I started years and years ago, well, I think, what did I say? June 14th is I finally realized our actual day of starting. But it started with.
What's the name of the Facebook group? Go ahead and
show. What are we? We're the most amazing transaction coordinators.
Yes.
It used to be just TC group, but I decided we needed a little glitter. So
yes.
And it started here in San Diego as a cocktail party where I was driving around one day, dropping off docs for a client, and was like, I can't be the only TC in San Diego. And they didn't like us talking to each other back then. They did not want us to like connect. They didn't want us to network. They didn't want us. It was like, you're my secretary and you only talk to me, and I don't want you to talk to another TC. And I realized in San Diego, Cesar Chavez Day, the county recorder's closed, and it's a random day. It's not a holiday anywhere else. So nobody'd have to wait to, did you hear for record? Did we get confirmation? I was like, let's go have drinks because everybody does better. I mean, let it or unleaded, but chips and salsa and drinks usually make people happy. So
always.
I went through a bunch of files and sent out, I mean, this is how long ago this was, a terrible chain email with way too many.
I remember
oh God. And some of the agents got on it and got mad and said, don't you talk to her? Like, we got yelled at, but we got out, and it's right when Facebook was kind of kicking over, and Helen Samayoa actually knew Facebook better than I did. So she started the group for me. And then I've been running with it for years. And so we ended up, and everybody walked, it was great. Everybody walked in and going, I'm sorry if I was mean. I'm sorry if I was mean. I'm sorry. And we started putting faces to names, and I used to do, and it just got life and everything else. And I really should get back to it, is circling back to that networking face to face. We used to do breakfast. We used to do all sorts of meetups. We would do the TC, TC Appreciation Day came about because whenever Cesar Chavez Day is, they're like, you made that up. I'm like, yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. But guess what? We deserve a day. So guess what? If it takes me making it up and we all feel good and I make my friends smile, Cesar Chavez Day, just know that's also TC Appreciation Day.
Interesting, interesting. I love that. We celebrated Cesar Chavez Day at my middle school. I'm from San Francisco in the Bay Area, so I'm familiar with that day. And we studied him, and it was normal. It was normal
Yeah.
for us, and I get it. But that's interesting because being a TC in the Bay Area or being in the real estate industry up here, what we consider Northern California, and you're in SoCal, I felt like there was a lot more unity down there. And it makes sense now because it was created. It wasn't just this natural thing that was allowed. I was just like, oh, everyone seems to know each other. That's cool. And I'm just going to insert myself where I fit in and when I feel like talking and do things. But this is kind of cool, like to have that community based. And of course, things have changed in terms of like meetups nowadays.
Oh yeah.
We're a lot more cautious with that. But is Facebook like your go-to platform? What are your thoughts on social media and running your business?
I think you should be on everything right now for dispersing information when I'm sharing documents and everything else. Honestly, Facebook is the best when you're dealing with groups and everything else that I've found. I'm on Instagram. YouTube is great if you're teaching a class or sharing that. But your responses, you can't do like, when you've got a thread or a chat going, it's a little bit more instantaneous. Yes, you can with the one-sided for me for YouTube, but I mean, that's my preference. Instagram, I should be hipper about. I'm so focused on Facebook because that's where I've been. I'm about to get on Threads because, of course, we all should at least get our business names locked in. So we have that ready.
Right.
And LinkedIn, I follow Gary Vee. I'm a big Gary Vee fan. He definitely gave me permission to use 4-letter words sometimes. Love him. But he's real and he's right and he's transparent. And LinkedIn is something that I don't think we tap into enough. And I think it's going to evolve more so as the platforms are kind of doing some shakeups and sorts out here. So it's never going to hurt you to be on everything else. I'm trying to get my Google business page, but I did something wrong and they're mad at me. So I've got to fix it. And I have no idea what I did. So, but yes, I think you should be on all social media platforms. I do think I need to be posting more than I have been. I do believe in video way more. It doesn't matter what you look like. I'll get on with no makeup on if I've got something, because your energy and your passion comes through.
Yes.
And that was another blessing of the pandemic is, all this like perfectionism went out the window when we were trying to stay connected to humans.
Exactly.
And that should be the focus is, look, I know I've had issues with going in. I know once upon a time, if I had started in this business with the size physique I have, I would not have had the volume I had because people didn't meet me face to face. And I know things are different now, and yay, Lord, we're all trying to make a better place. And I've proven myself, but I understand that fear and I respect that fear. But getting over that fear is what got me in the door. And that's something you got to use that fear as your fuel to not let that be what holds you back. And it's hard. And I get it, but I promise it's worth the euphoria afterwards of doing it. At least for me, is always so freaking worth it.
Oh, I couldn't agree more, especially the being comfortable in front of the camera and video. I love video. It's easier for me than to just sit here and write a course or a workbook. I'm just like, let me just tell you straight up. And if you really value my time, I just started a paid TC membership. I'm like, if you really value my time and want to support me, just go hang out over there. You can talk to me one-on-one in a group setting, but it's like, just get to the point.
Yeah.
I also learned that from Gary Vee, amongst other online people I consider mentors, even though I don't know them directly. And it's funny you say like not caring about what you look like. And it's like, yesterday I'm getting sidetracked now, but it's to your point of I filmed a video and I'm wearing one of my t-shirts with my business name on it.
Me too. You just can't see.
Right. And I was like, well, make sure it's high enough to where it's on camera, we could see it. But it was just easier for me to not have to pick out what I'm going to wear at home.
Oh, I am team uniform. I am team uniform.
I also went to Catholic school half of my life. So it just showed up. It's just easier. As much as I hated it back then, I get it now. It's less I have to think about. But yesterday, literally 24 hours ago, put on my t-shirt. I literally just rolled out of bed, didn't even wash my face, but I had a message on my heart. And after I after I posted the video, I was even editing and looking at my face like, there's definitely just eyeliner on one eye. But had I waited to like, let me go shower, fix my hair, and like put eyeliner on the other eye. The message wouldn't have come out the way I felt it in my heart in that moment.
Yes. All of this.
And it was one of those moments where I didn't care who watched it, when they watched it. I just needed to get this message out. I don't know if you heard that.
Yeah,
I live on a busy alley, so
see, they agreed. They're just applauding.
Confirmation
From the universe. That's what that was.
But it's up there, and it's gotten a couple hundred views, I think, at this point. And I posted it. I utilized all platforms, but to me, it was more so like I didn't care. I'm like, if anything, it's like it'll get them talking. Look at, she only has one eyeliner on. Oh, but she said something good there. Let me rewind it. And again, I didn't do it on purpose to like, I didn't show up.
Right.
That's not my thing. Like one eye with eyeliner. It was more so, man, okay, I have this message. Let me hit record. Boom, it's up, done. But I had to get it off my chest. And however I looked is how I looked. I mean, I eventually realized, and I was like, I think it's time to go wash our face. Let's not go the rest of the day like this.
Maybe you're starting trends.
Yeah. Who knows?
I did one last summer, and because the fans were too loud, so I turned the fans off, and I'm standing in here and all my lights, and I was just dripping with sweat through the video, just dripping. And so I went ahead and said, the topic's so hot, it's melting your TC, and just use it as the cover page. And perfect. You gotta, and I definitely have taken some selfies when I look like absolute crap, and I'm starting to use them because they grab your attention on my YouTube, and I think they're funny. And anybody who knows me, I'm the queen of like, if I can make myself look stupid, I will do it because it just makes me laugh. And I figure, there's somebody out there who needs, this is the best way I can be like, I can do it. You can do it. We got this.
Yes.
Come on. We got this. You. And so if it takes me, like, I love to go, okay, I look terrible on the camera. Like, that's fine. Guess what? You still got great message. You still have something to share. You have a voice, and we want to hear it.
Exactly. And you just have to have fun with it too. And that goes back to also knowing like kind of who your ideal client is anyway. I get a lot of people in my DMs like, how do you do it? What do I do? How do I market myself? And I'm like, it's going to be more than a DM. Let's start there. But I always tell them, I'm like, just be yourself, learn the fundamentals, right? Which I want to talk about a little bit, how not so much the structure of your day, but like, what is a day in the life of of Sam and One Stop? And is it typical? Because I think some people have this perception, like, this is how I'm supposed to run my business. If I don't do this, I'm failing. And I always remind them, like, well, you own your business, right? Or you want to own a business. You can do it any way you want.
Well, so the thing I always remember, because one, I feel like I'm failing every single day. I do. And it's, it's because we all have this vision of the perfect day in our heads, right? And what we've seen and what we've been told, and the reality of the husband got sick, the dog's puking, this person went rogue, the cleaners showed up too, or like, this has just been what's happened this week.
Yeah.
Like, mom's falling down. What's going on? Like, who's going? And, first of all, bad people don't worry if they're doing bad. Entrepreneurs who are failing, who are not, like, if you were in a bad space, you're not going to be like, I'm saying this wrong. Hold on. If you think that you could do better, that means you're already working towards it. You're aware of it. It's already on your conscious level. People who think they're perfect and have no errors, don't worry about that. So there's one thing to take into account. My day is very fluid. I have chosen, and I am not the poster child for this, so I'm going to say this. This is my choice. Please, dear Lord, do not feel that this is anybody else's thing. I am very blessed. I don't have kids. I live with my mom. I have my husband stay home. Like, he takes care of me, and mom does stuff around. So I have a lot of traditional things that could take up my time that have been removed out of my life, because luckily they both support and know that this is what I do best. Plus, I've been banned from the washer and dryer after I almost broke them because I don't know how to balance a load. Skill set I don't possess. I own it. It's fine. But I can TC a deal in 30 seconds or less. But, I've also chosen to be on call with my agents, and it took a while to put better boundaries in place where when I'm onboarding and as I've talked to you, because I've built up the relationships with these long-term clients, as I tell them, I said, I will answer the phone 24/7, 365, more or less. I mean, I do sleep and everything else. All I ask is, just as you need the time to take breaks, I need time to take breaks. So with that flexibility, if I'm going to be available for that 9 p.m. phone call on Saturday because we got a client freaking out and 2 minutes of my time will mitigate the potential cancellation, I'm in. But I also need you to be flexible if I need to get my hair done. I need to go to the doctor's. I go camping twice a year where I completely unplug because I have to, because I'm so on call the rest of the time, I will implode. And it's amazing how having that, just here's the reality, this is what I do, and setting that expectation from the beginning. And if a client goes, well, I need you for this, or you can tell, I'll be like, maybe I'm not the best match for you, but let me refer you to one of these amazing TCs that I already work with, because we're not all going to want to work with them. That's the awesome thing of having the network, the group, and everything else. There are more of them than us. 1, 2, not all of us work the same. We shouldn't. We're all different humans. That's why we're entrepreneurs. 3, let's get everybody to their highest and best connection. Because I am team no upset tummy files. That whole finding your ideal client. I tried so hard to fit in so many square boxes, round holes. Wrong. It was, and I would be so upset, and I would not be doing my best work, and I wouldn't be able to be in the flow, and I'd be so worried about messing up or doing something wrong that I missed things because I was so like, it has to be perfect. It has to be perfect. And that's not fair to that client. That's not fair to me. And that's not fair to my other clients, because it's taken away time from me doing why they hired me, which is being in my flow, being highest and best. So I think that's something we have to remember, where yes, right now, believe me, I'm just as thirsty, hungry as all the rest of us right now. I've cleaned my house for 2 weeks. I haven't had time to do that before. There's a reason, guys. At the same time, there's certain files that aren't worth touching. And you've got to be able to be aware of that. And if it feels risky or something feels off, and even if everybody's going, no, it's fine. No, it's fine. But they can't give you code. They can't cite you. They won't put it in writing. It's okay to run away. It's okay to say, no, this goes against my business. Our business models don't align is my go-to phrase. So I think that's how do you find, what's my day like? My day is, I had a client messaging me at 9:00 last night. Yep. I was getting everything over to him right away. I've also had clients call me at 6 a.m. Yep. Have I also had them send me money to go say, have 2 drinks on me while you're going on vacation? Yep. But that's a relationship I've worked on, and that's been a lot of years of building. And you've got to decide how you want to interact with your clients and what level of intimacy connection you want with them.
I couldn't have said it any better, to be honest. And I think that's such a great point of view. And like she said, everyone's life is different. You design the way you want to run your business the way you want to. But I think your perspective in terms of that 24/7 model is one that a lot of us don't want, but you have found a way to negotiate it and work it in your favor. You know your boundaries, you know your limits. And like you said, you had to learn that over the years. I'm pretty sure the first time you did it, you were just like, what the hell? Like everyone's going to fire me.
Yeah. Oh, I think that I'm like, okay,
yeah.
I haven't heard from anybody in 2 weeks. They're all firing me. Everybody's firing me. Yeah.
Yeah. Pro tip for anyone out there that's new in any industry, that feeling doesn't go away.
No.
And that's why you have to be proactive and initiate. Just send the quick, like, how's business? What's going on? Like,
yeah. What can I help with? How can I help? I will say it's definitely, and totally, excuse me for interrupting you.
Oh, you're fine.
One message I will definitely back on that glitter soapbox. They're all stressed out as much as we are.
Yes.
Most agents did not sell more than 4 homes last year. We are $1 million down of sales this year. This is the reality, guys. We are not the only ones hurting. Where our escrow officers are hurting, our lenders are hurting, our title officers are hurting, the inspectors, everybody is impacted with this. So when we're going, well, give me business, I need you to give me files, I'm just calling you to give me, they're already feeling enough pressure on their own with their families, their bills, their lives. You may want to think about what would connect you with somebody? Maybe now is not the time. Maybe they don't have a file for another 6 months, but I'm going to make sure you know what's going on. I'm going to make sure, hey, I'll get you through it. Well, I'm not up to date. Don't worry about it. I'll get you through it. We'll talk. I've got a video. I've got this. Let me help you out. Well, I don't know if this deal's going to go through and I don't want to waste your time. You are not wasting my time. I am on the team. I understand this is part of it. And that's been my business model. You don't have to do that. And I know that's definitely a Gen X boomer influenced mindset. And times it has bit me on the ass completely. Other times I am so grateful for the amount of, I really don't have to market. What I get to do is share. And I get to share, and I purposely share like with my escrow officers when new forms come out. I purposely share with my title officers. They don't have access to that stuff. And lenders, everybody else make sure they're up to date and break it down going, okay, read it and figure out how would that impact your client, like trying to explain the TOPA, which out here is the tenant occupied purchase addendum. So explaining the big change, they're like, well, it's no big deal, those are just the kids in the house. Funny thing, nobody has a place to go. Talking again about that looking long term, they're not leaving when they vacate, and even if they're not paying mom and dad rent, they are technically in there. And now we have squatters after close, and we've had this impact closing. So let's think about it. Let's ask these questions. Let's have a conversation. A client says, oh, well, the daughter's going to let them in. Oh, does the daughter live there? Does the daughter have a place to go? Well, no, but they've already talked to them about it. Do we have that in writing? Is everybody aware? Because you still have to, even if you don't have leases, you still need to serve notices to vacate if we have an issue. I had one where the stepmother was in the property, but the child was a beneficiary who was selling the property, and she was going to come up with every reason to make it challenging. And these are things, again, awareness. What service can you provide? Because you can step back and be on the outside looking at this, where the agent's so focused to get this deal done because they're hungry too. You can be the other set of eyes. And you were not hired to be a best friend. Being a yes person is the biggest mistake as I tell my clients, I would rather tell you no, have you pissed off at me for 30 minutes, 30 days, than we spend the next 9 months cleaning this up. You lose that commission, and you've lost all of that brain energy and time that you could have been building other business. So I'm sorry. I'm not willing to participate in that. I'm not willing to risk my license or yours. And if you don't like it, fire me.
Yeah. Agency, advocate for yourself, all of that. And I mean, the key point I'm getting from everything you just said, which were, again, just gems and glitter bombs and awesome information, and just, it's motivating me as well. And because for me, I'm very much 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, only emergencies on the weekends. And I mean, I've also cut down a lot of my clients because I feel like I'm in a different space with my business. But I think had I had that perspective maybe 5 years ago, I also didn't have the courage or the mental and emotional strength to do stuff like that a few years ago. That perspective of, yes, I'm available to you, but also I will be gone for the entire month of December. How does that work for you? Or whatever, however much time you need, or, I disconnect for 2 weeks out of the year or whatnot. And for anyone out there that is considering what type of business model they want to run or the hours they want to have, it's like, well, now you have 2 different perspectives, and both work for us. So what's going to work for you? And you could do 6 months of where you work 24/7. Then the next 6 months, you're like, oh, I didn't like that. Maybe I'll do like a 16/8 or something like that. Who knows? Whatever. It's up to you.
And it can change.
It can change.
Your life changes. Your input changes. Right. COVID, I was on call 24/7 with no breaks because what else was I going to do?
Right.
And I would rather do that and be there for them. And when I took my first vacation, I said, look, I'm taking 9 days. I haven't taken this long because let me backtrack. So I started to hit burnout, because you can hit burnout, and I was not balancing as well as I do now. So this was about 10 years ago. In 2014, I turned 40. Yep, we all know how old I am now. But anyway, 2014, and I had set a goal to go to Ireland. I'm Irish. And at the time I was with my partner, was first generation Greek. So we were going to Ireland and Greece to go see his family, and then doing some stuff for my family. And my mom was coming for part of the time, and my sister went to Spain for part of the time with my mom. Like, we had this huge thing. And so I let my clients know in January, because we left in July, actually it's almost 9 years tomorrow. And so I said, I'm taking a month off. I am going to go take this month off. I stopped taking files 30 days before. I still ended up having files while I was gone. Had people cover me. It didn't, that's a whole nother thing. But anyway,
yeah,
I was more
podcast on that.
Yeah, no, that's a whole, I it would be very different doing it now with the tech, but even the tech then 10 years ago, how accessible I could have been.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was at the Acropolis Facebooking, for God's sakes, because there was Wi-Fi. So like I was, we luckily get to see I get to see the photos every year because we had so much posted. But the point is, you do have to sometimes go, I've hit the wall. And you do have to step back and you get to change that. And then I came back and I was ready to hit the ground running. And I've been going ever since. And then COVID gave me another break when things were starting to get a little weird. And then this has been another break. So you've got to lean into the quiet times, which has taken me a lot. And believe me, I suck at it. But if you can lean into the quiet times to go through, clean your house. Like I just did a deep clean your office, clean your electronic noise, catch up on everything you've wanted to do, sit down and actually have 30 minutes to have quiet, to just let ideas that you haven't done. And then, as you said, do something about them. So like, this has been my last week of getting this stuff sorted. So now I actually have space to do something about it and get like, I'm going to make, I'm going to make ornaments for all of my clients and make sure, where all the closing statements are now, not in January when escrow is getting hit like crazy, and get up, another thing to think about is I just watched Buffini's Halfway Rah Rah, and that got me recharged because I knew I was a little low to come talk to you and I didn't want to be that's not good. So with that recharge, I will say stuff's coming and we're going to get busier again. So we're so out of practice as we've been, remember what happened in 2021 when everybody's here, we went from nothing and then it just out, even later 2020. Talk to your agents now, set up plans for, okay, as soon as you get the listings, let's do XYZ to be prepped for the escrow. As soon as you get the offer, let's do XYZ to get prepped for the deal. Let me talk. What steps have we missed before? How can we build things in now and fail safes? Where have there been mistakes? Where have things gone wrong? Okay, well, I didn't have enough space on my email. Let's call the tech guy now and get that fixed. Like, I know it's hard when you don't have the income coming in to put the money into the business. And I understand that. And definitely find the most cost efficient way to do it. But the more you can invest in your business, the better return you're going to get because you have a solid system and you can go out there knowing you can deliver. And the message when you're solid in your delivery is very different than, oh, sure, I can do that. I'll learn that. I got that. It's a very different communication. Your client feels different. And I think you'll see a change in your business. So if anything, take this summer and just invest in yourself and your business and whatever you want it to be. What's your dream thing? What do you need? What are you missing now? And that's some hard, yucky looking at going, like I know I have to get up at 6:30 or 6. I don't want to, but my day goes way better if I do. When I decide, it's slow, I'll sleep until 8. So you got to decide, you.
Wow. I could talk to you all day, and I know
I run at the mouth. I'm sorry.
No. I'm trying to hold myself back because I also don't want to be talking over you and the feedback with mics, but we could go in all day, and there will definitely be more interviews with you.
Anytime.
We'll do other things together. I hope, but you've touched on so many great points in this conversation, and I'm so grateful that I was able to get you on here, Sam. I truly value and appreciate your time and the access that you've provided us to you as well online. I'm
happy to,
whether it's on YouTube, all of those things. And before we close out this episode, I do have a couple last questions that I want to ask you.
Shoot.
But I do want to take the time to thank you, just not for this conversation, but for all the conversations you've had with many of us in this industry, and being a leading voice and an authority in this industry that is reliable and trustworthy. So thank you for that. So to wrap things up, I have a familiar question and one I just made up this week. So let's go for it.
Cool. Let's do it.
So with your growing experience and your career flourishing, what is something you're glad you did starting out? And then what is something you wish you had done starting out?
I'm really glad I did the extra steps. I think no matter what it looked like, there was always some sort of brand or something that my touch was on there. Like I used to go and make the CDs and they had to have the same logo. They had to have the same universal design. Those little things, it seems small, even if it's a color, everybody knew what I touched. And that was really important to me. So that was definitely something I'm glad I have stuck with. Like red has always been my color. You've seen anything red. And I think also it was come from a place of service.
That's key. That's key. And then what is something you wish you had done in the beginning?
Said no. I wish I had said no. I wish I had said, no, you're not right. I wish I had not. I'm very happy now, but as I say, no upset tummy files. If there's something off, there's something off, and you got to speak up about it. We're not here to be besties. So don't worry about being liked. Worry about doing a good job.
That part. No is a complete sentence, people.
Yeah.
And finally, how do you care for yourself outside of work?
Oh, I make way too many things with my Cricut. It is not safe. And I have an amazing, I really, truly, it's been cultivated over the past few years, and my husband's a result of it. But I have the most amazing group of friends that have become family that I am so grateful for. They're very good at checking on me. And I ended up with, long story short, my brother, Jed, doesn't have any biological, but he has a friend who's been a friend for many, many years. And the joke is, Jed's is Wookiee. And so I have a sister Wookiee-in-law and a brother Wookiee-in-law and a couple of other couples of friends that are basically brothers and sisters at this point. And I am very grateful for all that. Having time with them is really how I take care of it. And also, they're my reality checks, and they also told me when I'm screwing up. So I'm very grateful. So that's what I do, is I go spend time with them. I make too many crafts and come up with crazy ideas and throw parties.
I love all of it. And this has been awesome. I appreciate you. So tell the people about your business, how to follow you, learn from you, all those things. And the floor is yours, as it has been the whole time. But
you have been incredibly gracious, and I probably have gone on every tangent possible and over-glittered everything. But I'm on Facebook and YouTube at One Stop. Everything's at One Stop TC. What you're going to want to do is, I'm actually going to have a really good friend of mine who's in the solar industry do a solar training with me next week.
Nice.
So I'll be pushing that out to everybody, and that video will be available. I am stepping back more from the TC group as a whole, doing a lot more that's forward facing to the agents. So that's why with One Stop. And it's a Facebook group to follow there as well. But basically, 619-993-7264. That thing's surgically attached. I will talk about this till I'm blue in the face. How can I help? Because you know what? I get to go right upstairs and go, Mommy, somebody else should get to have that type of support the way I do.
I love that. Thank you so much, Sam. This has been, again, a joy, fun, and informative, inspiring, all of it. I'm so glad we made this connection and we made this conversation happen. So all of her information will be in the description below. To reach out to her, definitely give her a follow, or just a hello, or a simple thank you. It goes a long way. And in order to follow me, it's Transaction Care across all platforms. Pretty easy, straightforward. And you can go to transactioncarepodcast.com to stream other episodes, as well as join my TC community, mytccommunity.com. It's going live. It's live. By the time you listen to this, it will be live. We're here.
That's so exciting. I'm so stoked for you. That's really cool.
Thank you. It was definitely an exercise in doing it afraid. It's still growing. It's evolving. I'm not here to force myself to do anything I don't want to do. But it's just my way of giving back as well. And how can I help? And I saw some gaps, and I'm doing my best to fill them the way I know best. But Sam is a great resource. I'm a resource. We're both here willing to help. It's collaboration over competition. I'm not here to block anyone's blessings. So whichever route you take in this business, it's all available to you. And I'm just doing my best to provide you guys with as much access and information as possible to thrive. So until the next episode, thank you again, Sam. You've been great. But until the next episode, I'm giving you the keys. There are no gatekeepers here. Care for yourself, care for your wealth. Your time is worth it. Let's coordinate. Talk soon. This week's episode was brought to you by mytccommunity.com. Mentorship, straightforward training, and guidance for those aspiring to own their time and build a location-independent lifestyle. You have the power to design your dream life. Join my TC community, a safe space to learn and grow together. Head to mytccommunity.com today. Thank you.